Welcome to the Idaho Fishing Report. Whether you are planning just a couple of hours or a full weekend of fishing, this is your one-stop place for all the information you need to plan your trip. It's all right here, from weather forecasts and reservoir levels to the latest stocking reports and expert advice. And now, the host of Idaho Fishing Report, Jeff Cullers.
Well, hello, anglers. It is good to be back with you, and indeed, I am Jeff Cullers, your host of the Idaho Fishing Report. Had to take a couple of weeks off. My dad was sick and needed to go spend some time with him and to go make sure that things were in order. Back in North Carolina, I got to do a little fishing while I was there, too. And then we had a vacation to the Oregon coast, and we're going to talk about that. We have everything you need. We've got your reservoir level, your boat ramp information. Some are up, some are down. We'll see how it goes. We have your weather forecast. Spoiler alert, it's going to be a great weekend to be out on the water. So let's jump right into it. This is the Idaho Fishing Report. All right, before I do that, though, I do want to mention there's an event that I'm going to be at this Saturday night at 5:30 at the Idaho Central Credit Union Arena downtown in Boise. Come check out some women's roller derby. That's right, the Treasure Valley Roller Derby will be playing their Pacific North Wipeout. This is their second to last game this year, and so you want to come check it out. It's a tidal wave of action. Doors open at 5:30 Saturday, August 12th. First game is at 6:30, second game at 8 o'clock. I will be on the microphone calling all the action. Got my start in roller derby back in 2010 and have been addicted to it ever since. It is some great action. You need to come check that out. All right, let's get into that regional update. Reminder, this is brought to you by Good Boy Studios for all your podcast and live streaming needs. All right, so we are going to start off, of course, as we always do, over in the Magic Valley. And the sunset there will be around 8:45 p.m. Highs over the weekend in the low 90s, which is good. It's going to be sunny, no chance of rain. We'll see some double-digit winds, 10 to 13 miles an hour over the weekend. Sunday, we're going to see it get down to 8, so good chance to get out there then and without having any winds. Be pretty steady the rest of the first of next week. Highs in the mid to upper 90s. The highest is going to be 99 on Wednesday. Again, no chance of rain until Thursday, and only a 5% chance of rain at that point. All right, let's head over to the Treasure Valley. We'll start in Mountain Home. Sunset there will be around 8:51 p.m. Kind of the same story, mid-90s through the weekend. No chance of rain. 16-mile-an-hour winds on Saturdays being forecast right now. Sunday's only 8. So if you got that pontoon boat and you want to avoid the wind, go out on Sunday, not Saturday. The rest of the week, highs in the upper 90s, lower 100s. That's right, triple digits. Coming back to the Treasure Valley this weekend. We'll see it get down to about 96 and partly cloudy on Thursday. The winds pretty steady, 8 to 10 miles an hour. We'll see 13-mile-an-hour winds. Coming around on Thursday, looks like there's going to be a kind of a storm rolling through there. And if I didn't say it, sunset's at 8:51. Over in Boise, sunset 8:54 p.m. And kind of the same thing, lower to mid-90s over the weekend, no chance of rain. Strong winds, 11 to 14 mile an hour over the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 9 mile an hour. Kind of stays that way through the rest of the week. We'll see triple digits Tuesday, Wednesday, just like we do over in the Magic Valley. So not much change there for that once you head over to Boise. All right, let's head up that double nickel to Cascade area. Sunset there will be around 8:55 p.m. Going to see low to mid 80s over the weekend. Sunny, mostly sunny on Saturday. Not too bad on the winds there, 9 to 7 miles an hour. You got a chance of rain. You always kind of do up that way. As we get into the first part of the week, higher 80s, low 90s. Again, a lot cooler than it's going to be down in the valley as we get up into some of those mountain elevations that way. All right, let's head over to that Idaho-Oregon border and the Snake River area. Sunset there will be around 9 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock PCT. We'll see mid to lower 90s through the weekend. Sunny, no chance of rain, 7 to 9 mile an hour wind, so not too bad. First of the week, we're going to see high 90s, low 100s, so triple digits there Tuesday, Wednesday, just like everywhere else. Mostly sunny on Thursday with a slight chance of rain, but not a whole lot. And that is your regional update for the southern Idaho area. All right. It has been a while, but we are welcoming back our hot tip of the week with our good friend from Tightlines 208, Jordan Rodriguez, through no fault of his own because we haven't been here, not him. Jordan, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. Good to be back on the show.
Oh, man, it's good to be back on the airwaves. And we talked a little bit about it at the beginning. Just, sometimes you deal with family stuff and it has to take priority. But glad to have you back on and to have you once again giving us that expert advice. So what is that Tightlines 208 hot tip of the week?
Yeah, so this one might be familiar to a few listeners if they read the column because it's what I wrote about this week. And it's something that kind of started off as almost like a halfway joke. I observed my uncle do this when I was a kid, and I just thought, well, that's kind of a neat idea. But he would keep a fishing rod in the trunk of his car, so that in a little, tackle bag, so that in theory, anytime an opportunity arose, he would be, ready to roll. So when I was a teenager, I started doing that. When I got my own car, I'd always keep some fishing gear in the trunk, and I kind of developed this habit of a fishing pit stop. If you're on your way home from work, or in those days I was like working multiple jobs at like restaurants and theme parks and things, and so sometimes a shift gets moved around or you get sent home early because the restaurant's slow. All of a sudden you got a couple free hours that you weren't expecting. And in my case, in those times, living in eastern Idaho, there was always a trout stream just around the corner, it felt like. And here in Southwest Idaho, we have kind of a whole variety of things, whether it might be the Snake River or the local ponds or, any number of lakes and reservoirs. So I have continued the tradition of fishing pit stops. I will say I don't keep my gear in my car anymore. I've got kids, so it's not very kid friendly to be having rods and hooks and everything hanging out.
Sure.
Also, I learned that it's not great for your gear, like your line and stuff, to be out in the heat or the cold all the time. So I do keep my stuff, stored inside, but always close enough to toss it in if there's going to be an opportunity. And it leads to some really cool and oftentimes surprising results. I think a lot of listeners, if you're into fishing, would probably could relate to that spot you've driven by like a million times. Maybe it's on your way to work or somewhere that you go often, and you just always think, man, I bet there's good fishing down there, but for whatever reason, you've just never tried it. Well, that's the perfect type of place to do a fishing pit stop sometime, when the opportunity presents itself. So, and I've definitely done that. I've discovered some really fun holes that now I go to all the time because the pit stop was so good. I was like, man, I need to come back here more often. I think as we speak tonight, my largest smallmouth of the season, and that was also true last year, was caught on just like a 1 hour stopover on the Snake River. And in both of those cases, it was at a new spot that I've never fished before. So that's kind of a cool anecdote as well. So it's just a good way to explore. It's a good way to take advantage of, the limited free time you might have, especially if you're a working dad like myself. There's just not a whole lot of opportunities to say, I'm going to take this whole day and go fishing, or even a half day can be, tricky,
right?
With schedules and everything. So, but usually you can carve out 45 minutes or an hour and a half, stop along the road. Or, my most recent one that I wrote about in the column, I had to run to Sun Valley area to help my sister with something, and it was like a last minute unexpected thing. And it's like, gosh, I got 5 hours of round trip driving here for, the thing I needed to do was not going to take very long. So I said, well, what if I left 90 minutes earlier at dark 30 and gave myself a little time on the river? So I did, and the Big Wood River, which, I don't get to fish nearly as often as I'd like. It's a beautiful little trout stream. And, what do you know? I caught like 5 or 6 trout, one really, really big, nice wild rainbow. And it turned, what may have been otherwise kind of a mundane up and back driving into a fun little bonus. So it's a tool to keep in your back pocket or in your tackle box, if you will. And a big fan of the fishing pit stop, and highly recommend giving it a try if you haven't already.
Yeah, it's funny. As you were talking about that, it took me back to my days living in North Carolina, and that's man, I always kept a rod and some worms and a couple of rapalas. Like you said, not a whole lot, but just one of those small tackle boxes of stuff, because you just never knew, man, when you might roll by a lake or a pond, and we didn't have a whole lot of streams and rivers like we do here, but just that opportunity to be able to do that. So it's funny you talk about this today, because I just got a new gig for the fall. I'm going to be doing the home announcing for the Homedale varsity football team, which I'm super excited about. And but I'm a Google Earth geek. I love looking at places on Google Earth. It's one of the ways that I scout when I go fishing trip, right, or camping trip. But I was looking where they built their new stadium, and it's right on the Snake River. And I thought, man, I could show up an hour early and go over there on that little dock and do some fishing. So I'm going to heed your advice, Jordan, and I'm going to put a rod and a couple of pieces of tackle in my box, maybe before or after the game's coming up this year.
100%. That's the type of thing. You take note of those places when it's some place that you're going to be near often, and when the time is right, you get a good weather day, you get a little extra time. That's the opportunity, and you take it, and you never know what could happen. I mean, that's always the beauty of fishing. But I've been surprised, and that's probably the reason I've continued to really enjoy those trips. Is like some crazy stuff happens. You catch some giant bass, or something you just weren't expecting at all. And that obviously, any fishing is time well spent usually. But
amen.
You can really luck out with some cool catches. So I'll also say, Jeff, just a little word to the wise for the listeners. I think it was just kind of the really wet spring that we had, and how that extended into, like most of June. The poison ivy and other poison type plants are as prevalent this year as I have ever seen. And I actually got into some, which was the first time I've done that since I was probably a young teenager in Boy Scouts or something. And I think it might be like the chicken pox, where like the older you are when you get it, the worse it is. Because it was really awful. So definitely 0 stars out of 5. Do not recommend. And educate yourself on what that looks like. And or if you're like myself and you know what it looks like, be smart enough to stay out of it. And I was kind of in the dark and probably somewhere I shouldn't have been with the level of visibility we had, and I paid for it. So look out for that, folks. Yeah, no fun.
That is not fun at all. I've had it. It's been years, but it's not fun. And there's not enough Campho-Phenique in the world, man, to make you feel better with that stuff. So
no, it had been, like I said, 20 plus years, and I'll happily go another 20 plus years before seeing that again.
I'm laughing with you, not at you, because it's just I can just only imagine myself doing it. So
it's the worst.
All right. Let's look at some positive stuff. I think you've got a class coming up right around the corner that has very limited space, so people better be quick, and another class down the road. What you got coming up in that Tightlines 208 classes?
Yes, sir. So on August 24th, we are doing Panfish School, and we are holding that at Idaho Rod and Reel. And shout out to Ryan and the crew out there for hosting us and just having a cool shop and being all around good people. So the good news is we're having Panfish School, and it's a super fun class. Of course, we talk about jumbos at Lake Cascade, big crappie at CJ, and everything in between. And the bad news is there's only one spot left. So, and I do have like a cap on who can fit in the room. So, one spot left. If you're listening and you want to go to Panfish School, get on that mouse real quick or on your phone and register at tightlines208.com. That is Panfish School on August 24th. And then in September, we're going to be doing our Learning to Fly class. It is a fly fishing 101, kind of an intro class to all things fly fishing in Southwest Idaho. And of course, a lot of the techniques and things we learn would be applicable anywhere. So if fly fishing is an interest to you, put that on your radar. It will be held in September. It will be held at the Hilton Garden Inn Boise Spectrum in Boise, and I do not have a date, but probably by the next time we talk, Jeff, I'll have a date on that, and we can get that out there for the listeners as well.
And that fly fishing class is really popular. It sells out quick, so you do want to make sure you keep your eyes open for that. I have to tell you, I talked to a couple, our contest winner, and then a couple other people that took their kids to the kids class, and man, the reviews were just great. Everyone loves you, which of course they do because you're an awesome guy. But they said it was really fun. You made it really teachable for the kids, and so really good reviews on that. I hope you do that again next year. From everything I've heard about it, it was a great class, and I'm sure you had fun doing it too.
I did, yeah. And my daughter was there, which was kind of special for me to have, my kid in the audience. But we had a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the support and all the love afterwards. Have lots of good feedback. The thing I will say is I never teach the same class twice, and I always add things. I always look for ways to improve. So we will definitely be doing the kids probably every summer. Summertime tends to be the easier time to get kids out for a weeknight evening type of class like that. So yeah, keep an eye out. We will for sure be offering fishing fun for kids at least once a year going forward. And we sure did have fun. Probably the biggest memory for me was we did casting practice in the pool, and the pool was maybe not as big as I had thought it was in my head. So for the little kids, it was perfect. It was ideal. But for maybe 2 or 3 of the older kids who were maybe pushing, 11, 12 years old and had maybe handled a fishing rod once or twice, they were zinging that thing all the way across to the other side. So I had to tell them, there's big trees over there now. Cast a little shorter so you don't get in the trees. But
I love it.
It was a great time. Appreciate everyone coming out and the support from the show, giving away a seat, and we sure had a fun time out there.
Outstanding. Well, he is Jordan Rodriguez, owner and creator of Tightlines 208, journalist here in the southern Idaho area. He joins us each and every week with expert tips. Jordan, thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you again next week, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
And thank you for being here. All right, that's it for our hot tip of the week. We'll see you next week. Do you want to be part of the show? Email us with questions or your fishing report from your last trip. Email general questions to gemstatefishing208@gmail.com. Fish pictures sent to myfish@gemstatefishing.com. And viewer questions to questions@gemstatefishing.com. Yeah, I'd love to get those emails from you. Reach out to us. Don't ever hesitate. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up on the old email. All right, let's get into some reservoir level and boat ramp information. We'll start over, as we always do, of course, in the Magic Valley. Lake Walcott sitting at 95% full with an elevation of 4244. The boat ramp is open. Little Wood is sitting at 80% full with an elevation of 5226. The Little Wood boat ramp is open. Milner, 75% full. No boat ramp information, of course, is available for there. Over in the Treasure Valley, CJ Strike still sitting at 100%, a 54-foot gauge height. Anderson Ranch is at 90% full with an elevation of 4186. All boat ramps are open. Arrow Rock is at 37% full with an elevation of 3145. The high ramp and low ramps are open. I will tell you, I was a little surprised to see how much that had dropped in. I've been gone for 4 weeks. That really dropped in the 4 weeks. But I have an answer for that. Why is that, Jeff, you say? Well, because Lucky Peak is currently sitting at 100% full. That's right. We are maxed out at Lucky Peak with an elevation of 3055. All ramps are open. Lake Lowell has also dropped a little bit since we last chatted. 58% full with an elevation of 2522. All ramps are open. While I'm on this area over here, let's slip over to the Oregon border there and to the Oahe Reservoir. A lot of folks have been asking about that. That is currently sitting at 63% full with an elevation of 2647. All ramps are open. All right, let's head up to Cascade there. Cascade Lake is sitting at 74% full, elevation 4821. All ramps are open except, that's right, we have our first closure of the summer. French Creek is not accessible anymore, so be mindful of that. Deadwood, 74% full, with an elevation 5321. The Cozy Cove boat ramp is open. Man Creek, sitting at 47% full, with an elevation of 2865. Both ramps are still open, believe it or not. All right, over to the Snake River Reservoir area. And I want to show you guys this. I know I've talked about it quite a bit. I'm going to show you my screen here. This is what I read off of when I do my podcast. That's right. You get to see how the sausage is made here. This is what, when I go to the Idaho Power, this is what they show us. This is a really cool diagram that they've gotten up on the site this year. This is new. This is kind of cool. If you look at the blue truck, that's the Oregon side. If you look at the red truck, that's the Idaho side. And it kind of shows you where the elevation is. Right now, we're sitting at 2075. Steck Park is still open. And you still got about 22 feet there before that's going to be out of commission. Over on the other side, in the Oregon side, Spring Recreation is also kind of see that too. Let me show you this next piece that they have as well. This is really kind of cool too. This shows you the boat ramp information, the usable boat ramp elevations, and I talk about usable water depth in feet. So as you see right now, Steck Park only has 5 feet beyond that ramp. So something to be mindful of there as you get in. So I thought that was pretty cool. Hopefully you guys like that, and you go check that out for yourself there at the Idaho Power, and you guys will like that quite a bit. I will tell you real quickly that there is a health advisory that has been issued for the Brownlee Reservoir due to a harmful algae bloom caused by high levels of toxic algae, also known as cyanobacteria. I'm sure I butchered that. All my scientists can email me, tell me how to pronounce that. Please use caution in or near the water. See the Idaho Recreational Water Health Advisory page for additional information on that. And you folks can check that out. So, all right. Another word from our sponsor. Make sure you visit us at gemsafefishing.com for all the links to all the information we provide here. You can also contact us through the site. All right. It's time for our fishing game update. We'll start, of course, with our stocking report, as we always do with that. And let's talk about what we're going to see, kind of some stocking there for the Magic West, or for the Magic Valley West. We're going to see Warm Springs Creek through Friday, going to get about 1,425 fish stocked. They'll also have another stocking next week, so it looks like Warm Springs Creek going to get quite a bit. Big Trinity Lake is going to get 1,200 fish stocked in it. Over on the southwest region for fish and game, Roland's Pond is going to get 1,000 fish stocked this week. And the upper Payette Lake is going to get 2,000 fish stocked this week. So there is your stocking report. How about a little bit of fishing tournaments? There's quite a few happening this weekend. The Mountain Home Hog Hunters will be having an event on Saturday and Sunday, it looks like. And they will be launching and weighing into the Black Sands boat ramp as they always do there at CJ Strike. The Payette River Bassmasters Club Tournament will be Saturday and Sunday, and that will be held at Lake Lowell. This is youth only, it looks like. And so they're going to be using the Caldwell ramp for that. So if you're headed out to Lake Lowell, keep a lookout for that. Finally, the Treasure Valley Bass Tournament will be having a fishing tournament also this weekend. They'll be using the Burley Snake River RV Park boat ramp. That's what will be doing the launch and the weigh-in. And that is, of course, over at our favorite lake there, Milner Lake. And you guys can check that out. So there is your fishing update, and that will let you know where everybody's going to be at this weekend. Hey, you can find us on every social media platform, from Facebook groups, Twitter, or Instagram. Our handle at Idaho_report. Yeah, make sure you follow us there at Idaho_report. We give you those daily readings on in case you don't want to have to listen to the whole show. We tell you when the peak fishing times are. All right, it's time to get into those moon phases. I got some bad news for you. I come back and it's we're rolling into out of the last quarter here and into the new moon. So it's going to be some as far as the moon phase is concerned, fishing's not going to be great. I'm afraid. And so last quarter's August 8th, new moon is August 16th, apogee is August 16th, perigee is August 30th. I'm going to tell you guys right now, circle that August 30th on your calendar right now. It's also when we're going to have our next full moon. So we're going to have a full moon. We're going to have perigee. I think the fishing is going to be fantastic that day. And, of course, I am out of town, and I'm not going to be able to take full advantage of that. But that's okay. All right, let's get into some of those peak fishing times. Friday. All of these are going to be in the good. Some are just barely. We'll have nothing in the excellent this weekend or next week, unfortunately. We'll see some good peaks around 10 a.m., 4 p.m., and midnight. On Saturday, we'll have peaks at noon, 6 p.m., and midnight. Sunday, 1 a.m., and then same time in the afternoon, 1 p.m., and then again at 6 p.m. Monday, 2 a.m. and 2 p.m., and then that last peak slides between 7 and 8. It's a little closer to 7 than it is to 8, and that'll just kind of ease on. Tuesday, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., 8 o'clock, pretty much straight up on Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll see good around 3 a.m. and again at 3 p.m., and then at 9 o'clock right there at dusk as we get into those sunsets now. And then on Thursday, we'll see a 3:30 a.m., 3:30 p.m., and then again, we'll have one more around 9 o'clock. All right. Oh, man, I've missed that. I love that riff. I know I tell you guys that every time, but I do love that riff. What's the grade? It's a tough one. It really is. I want to give it a nice grade, nice high grade. But the fishing just, it's just according, with the moon, it's just not going to be great. But I'm going to have to give it a B+. I'm just telling you, the great weather, very limited winds, except for the usual places. And then Friday and Saturday, most places, but your usual suspects, Anderson Ranch, CJ Strike, you're going to get those there. It's not getting around it. You're going to have some wind. Sunday looks really good. Like I said, the fishing is probably going to be slow due to our moon phase. But it's not a bad weekend to get out there and just get those lines wet this weekend. It's going to be a great weekend, and if I were you guys, I would definitely get out there and give it a go before we get into that. So, all right, before we get too much further, I do want to talk about our Good Boy Studios. Again, they help make this show possible. They bring it to you each and every week that we are on the air. Have you ever had an idea for a great podcast, but you just didn't know how to get started? Starting your own podcast is as easy as contacting Good Boy Studios and letting us help you get your great idea out of your head and into your listeners' ears. We can teach you how to write, edit, produce, and publish your own podcast. Or we can handle all those tasks and you just show up to record. Contact us today to learn more at goodboystudios.com. That's good, B-O-I, studios.com. Good Boy Studios can help launch your idea into a reality. All right. I don't get to do this much this often this year. It's been kind of a funny year for fishing for me. I haven't got a chance to do a lot. There's been a lot going on. My involvement with the Idaho Horsemen. I just picked up a new gig, which I'm super excited about. Let me just go ahead and stop and talk about that right now. If we have any listeners out in the Homedale area and you ever go to the Homedale varsity football games, I'll be your new voice. Yes, that's right. I'll be in the stadium and making the calls this week, starting on August 25th with the Homedale varsity football team. Super excited. Man, they're in their sophomore year of this new stadium. It's beautiful. I had a chance to check it out. Gorgeous, gorgeous stadium. They made it to the championship last year and just barely lost. They have a good program. They anticipate to have a good program back this year. So I'm super excited to be part of the Trojan family this year. And if you're a listener, man, email us or hit us up on @Idaho_report. Let me know that you come out and watch the games. We'd love to see you there. So my year has been super busy and didn't get to do a whole lot of fishing. Like I said, I got to do some in North Carolina. Nothing to brag about. I didn't catch one single largemouth bass, which is what I really was hoping for. Caught several crappie, caught some bluegill. Of course, bluegill fishing in the South is just pan fishing. It's just amazing. And it's really abundant. Loaf of bread, you can catch panfish down there left and right. Caught a couple of catfish, and so it was good. It was good to get out. I grew up there. The humidity, though, I forgot what it's like to live there after living in Idaho now for the last decade. You sweat. We used to joke, in North Carolina, you get up, take a shower in the morning, spend the rest of the day drying off. It is the truth. You'd walk outside and you just got beads of sweat. But last week, my wife and I and mother-in-law got to do a little trip, our annual trip out to Lincoln City. And we had a little vacation out there. And we got to check out a couple of lighthouses. We saw Astoria last year, and we got to see a couple new ones this year, Hecata and Yaquina Bay. And those were really kind of cool. And here's some of those pictures of those lighthouses that we got to see. And it's fun. Lighthouses is something that my wife and I really enjoy doing. But like I said, I got to do a little fishing. We went out of trade winds out of Depot Bay and the world's smallest harbor. And it was slow. Last year we did the same trip and we hammered it. My wife and I each brought back 6 rockfish each. This year was a little bit slower. We only brought back between the 3 of us, my mother-in-law, 73 years old, went fishing with us. I love that. She's such a great person to get out and do it. She went whitewater rafting with us this year. She's a lot of fun, but she caught 4 rockfish, caught a double. We used double hooks, and she caught a double one, so that was good. I also caught a double, and you're seeing that there. That's those 2 lingcod I brought up together. That was quite the story because the lingcod I also caught as a double, and my line got tangled with the guy next to me who had a fish on. And so it was, I knew they were gone. There's no way I was going to bring them both in. But those lingcod are currently nice and packed up, and we got the cheeks out of it. I can't wait to get into those and eat those. And but like I said, between I want to go back to that picture. Sorry. I want to go back and show you this here real quick. The second picture, I caught a rockfish there. You can see it on the right, but look at that monster sea bass I caught. But here's the funny thing. My wife always outfishes me. She finds a way to outfish me. She caught a sea bass. We don't have it pictured. it was bigger than that one. And so it was a crazy trip. And the captain was talking about the fish that we caught, so that always made us feel good. And yeah, it was a good trip. And this was our haul. On the left is the uncut, and then on the right, we also did crabbing. We did a fishing and crabbing charter, and brought back a lot of Dungeness crab that, man, we can't wait to get into. So we finished off last year's haul just a few weeks ago, and so now we've added this year's haul to the freezer, and so that was really cool. So that was our trip over into Oregon. Like I said, I hadn't had a chance to do a whole lot of fishing this year, so it was nice to get out there and do that, and to really just have a good time. And man, there's nothing like yelling "fish on" when you're on those charter boats, and to bring those bad boys in. So we had a good time, and hopefully you guys enjoyed those pictures. And I'd love to see yours. If you guys do some fishing, whether it's here locally or other places, I'd love to see those pictures. And don't ever hesitate to send those out. Well, big shout out again to Jordan Rodriguez for coming on the show and talking about, just making those side trips, those little trips off to the side. You heard me talk to him about, the Homedale thing, the Snake River's right there. When I went out to go visit the stadium, there was a guy fishing. He had a couple of catfish on the line. And so, who knows? I might take the rod when I go do the football games and maybe do a little fishing while I'm out that way. It's a drive from Boise, that's for sure. But would love to just, get out there and do some fishing. It's very therapeutic. Especially, at least for me, it is. And I know Jordan talked about it is for him too. When you have some things that are happening in your life, fishing could at least help your mind relax for a little bit and get out there and do that. Thanks again. The Treasure Valley Roller Derby, again, go out and check those women out this weekend at the Idaho Central Credit Union downtown on Boise. Doors open at 5:30. The game starts at 6:30. Second game starts at 8 o'clock. I'll be on the microphone there. Would love to see you. If you come out, make sure you come by the announcer stand and say hi and let me know that you're a fan of the IFR. You will see my banner hanging up there as well. So, but that's going to do it for us here. And like I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. And it's good to be back with you. Thank you for your patience that we've been gone. We're going to be on it for the rest of the season. No more weeks off. For the Idaho Fishing Report, I'm Jeff Cullors.
We would like to thank you for listening to the Idaho Fishing Report. You can find us at gemstatefishing.com. Also, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like. Thanks to our sponsors, guests, and experts, but especially you, our listener, for making this show possible. This has been a Good Boy Studios production in association with OMS Multimedia, LLC. Join us next week for another episode of the Idaho Fishing Report. This show is the property of Old Man Studios, LLC, and may not be reproduced, rebroadcast, or retransmitted without the express written consent of Old Man Studios, LLC.